some of the hidden SEO issues that really harm websites of all sizes, things that if you're not careful and know where to look can really harm your visibility. If a page is indexed, it means it's discoverable in a search engine. So if it's not indexed, it can't be found by a search engine crawler. Some pages cannibalize each other.
Each other, yeah.
Exactly. So. But we'll tell you about why that happens and what that really means. So there is a hidden allocated budget that Google has in how much it will decide to crawl. And the time to do that also has an impact on its decision then on which pages get ranked.
These most simplest of fixes, some of them, make massive changes, don't they? Just simply cleaning up your content or fixing that keyword cannibalisation can make a massive difference to your organic visibility.
Exactly. Awesome. Welcome back, everyone, to the Inside Digital podcast. This is very special because for the first time ever, we've got Zachary on our team.
Hello.
Zach is joining us. Zach is one of our campaign managers, but Zach's specialism is in local SEO, and you do a lot of technical SEO as well. Mm-hmm. You're involved in all projects. You get involved in a lot of stuff, but I think it's fair to say that local SEO is your baby.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah,
that's fair
awesome.
to say. Yeah.
So,
thank you.
Obviously, I know SEO as well. Mm-hmm. Somewhat. No, I'm quite good at SEO. So today we wanted to talk about some of the hidden SEO issues that really harm websites of all sizes. Things that, if you're not careful and know where to look, can really harm your visibility and can make pages just not be visible at all, which is really not what you want. It's a real tragic time when a lot of time and energy is built maintaining and building a really beautiful site for not enough people to actually see it. So we're going to go into some tips and things to look out for that help everyone.
Said it very well there.
Yeah, well, thank you.
That's all right.
But we'll just dive straight into it. So I think the one thing about that is obviously the first being indexation issues. To define that, because we're going to throw around a lot of terminology here and a lot of it doesn't really make sense. So we're going to have to carefully define everything here. If a page is indexed, it means it's discoverable in a search engine. So if it's not indexed, it can't be found by a search engine crawler and people won't really be able to won't find it in a search result. They'd still be able to go to the page. It'd still be accessible. It's just that it doesn't appear in those search results, which is kind of the whole point of SEO really. So the biggest culprits of that, well, not the biggest culprits, but some of the main things to look out for are incorrect no index tags. Now what a no index tag is that can be added into the page's HTML, and it's giving an instruction to search engine bots, search engine crawlers to not go to that page, to not go to it, crawl it, understand it, and try and understand what the intent or what the content on that page is specifically. And the reason that is important is because if it can't do that, then it's never going to appear. So one thing to be careful of with that is if you've got a page that's getting no traffic, it's always important to go in and check that yourself. If you don't have access to tools like SEMrush or Google Search Console, which we'll talk about in a little bit, what you can do is on your pages, if you right click and view the page source, if you then do Control F, which is to find whatever wording is on that page, just type in no index or index. If nothing appears, you're all good. That isn't an issue, and that isn't the reason why your page isn't being indexed, but it's one thing that's worth checking.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely essentially the quickest method to be finding no index tag on your site, essentially.
Yeah.
And just kind of like going off that point, kind of with the no index tag, if you're not formatting it correctly in the back either, then you're not going to get that desired result of having your page not appearing in Google.
Yeah.
And we haven't really gone into that yet, but there are many reasons as to why you wouldn't want some of your pages to actually be indexed in Google.
Yeah.
And that essentially comes down to pages that just don't really serve a purpose on your website. And obviously you'd want that to not be appearing in the search results, would you?
Yeah, exactly. And I think we'll go a little bit onto which specific types of pages you might not want to index in a bit.
Yes.
But you're absolutely right with that. I think one thing as well that can catch people out, especially people with e-commerce businesses, is canonical errors. So the reason you might want to set a canonical for your pages is typically on product pages where you might have different variants of the same product. Say if you sold running shoes, you may have different colorways of the same kind of running shoe. If you're really smart about it, your page URL shouldn't change when a user is flicking through the different color options, for instance. But if it does, what you'd want to do is set a canonical rule so that all of those pages are effectively connected and are kind of the same. And that just communicates to search engines that they are the same, that they don't need to be interpreted differently, and that will help with overall rankings. When there's canonical errors, it kind of throws up all kinds of accessibility issues, not as in accessibility in terms of humans being able to actually use and interpret the website itself, more like search engine crawlers and search engine bots getting confused about what the content actually is and being able to access it.
Essentially saying, this is the most important page.
Yeah.
That I want the search engine to see,
yeah,
in comparison to those non-important pages.
Precisely.
And it is that thing, like you just kind of going off of that with, you know, you might be on an e-commerce site and you have, what's like you said, shoes.
Yeah.
And you have like black shoes, for instance. That's great, you know, but you may just want that main page to be pointing. Sorry, like that black shoes page to be pointing to the main page, which is just the shoes page.
The shoe itself, or the shoe collections. Yeah.
It's just one example there, to be honest. And
that the canonicals are quite technical. So if you're not sure what you're doing, it's probably a good idea to confer if you've got like a web developer or something, or an internal IT company, just because it's not the easiest thing to go ahead and customize.
No, it's very it's like we brought up the point a second ago with no index tagging. It's like you got to know the right formatting before you even go in there and put it in.
Yeah.
How do you actually type this out? How do you? It's kind of like, you could say it's a little bit like code in a sense.
Yeah, it is.
Well, yeah, essentially, yeah. And how can you actually write that out? And like you just said with web developers, get the web developer, look into it, or even just Google
it. Yeah.
Google it.
Better
and
yet.
then just see. What's the right way.
Exactly. And I think always relying on a web developer if you have one is like the safest option, because if you're making edits to a page in the actual HTML, it can be a bit scary because it's quite easy to break things.
100%.
But if you don't have access to that, language models like ChatGPT or Gemini, getting them to kind of give you not the script, but the placement for where you might put those canonical tags or anything to do with no indexing, it can kind of give you a copy and paste that you can just put straight into your HTML, which is really useful.
Yeah,
you
definitely.
do need to be careful, obviously.
100%.
Because as much as we're all growing to depend on and use, ChatGPT and stuff like that a bit more, it will make mistakes. So you've got to vet that. But
it's like, you need to, like you just said, we've got to be really specific here. When putting it into the HTML, you want the proper placement. You put it into an AI model and you ask, first of all, you ask the AI model, what's the format for it?
Yeah.
But it might not tell you where to put it. It might just give you the format. So this is why you need to be really specific.
100%.
And it might even just churn out the format for you, but it hasn't correctly placed in the right link.
Yeah.
So it might just give you an example.
Yeah.
And you have to do the rest of the work.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. But I think in terms of indexing, so making sure you know what pages are being discovered and not, a really free and quite powerful way of doing that is within your actual search browser itself. So if you open your browser and then the top search bar at the top, if you type in site : and then immediately after that post your domain, so ours would be tillison.co.uk, if you enter that in that search result, you'll see all of the pages that are discoverable in search results. There may be hundreds, there may be a few, it depends how big your site is, but it's a really good way of you at a glance being able to see exactly what pages there are surfacing, and identifying which aren't. You can go a step further with this, and at the end of that you've just put into the search bar, in quotation marks, you can do like a specific word. So if you only wanted pages, again, relating to, let's use the example of trainers. Say if you only wanted to see pages on your site that have the word trainers or related trainers, you could put that in and it would show you that. Because then if you had certain trainer types or actual trainer models itself that just aren't appearing in that search whatsoever, you then know exactly what the problem is and what the culprits are of that.
Yeah,
so that's really helpful.
It's really helpful in the sense of also, like you just said, checking pages, but seeing what pages are actually indexed and what you could look at it and be like, oh, wait a minute, my blog content isn't actually being indexed right here. Now I've just found a technical problem.
Exactly.
What, jump on that next and improve from there and actually get those pages indexed.
I think so, yeah. And building on that, one thing that you should be using if you're quite serious about trying to get your content to appear more, understanding the metrics behind that, understanding what technical issues you might have, a really good starting point is Google Search Console. Completely free. It's Google's data. As long as you can verify ownership of the site, you can just use it. It's brilliant. But that gives you an actual dedicated report to the pages that are not being indexed for whatever reason. It will give you pages that are discoverable by search engines but aren't being indexed for whatever reason. And all of that. It's really useful, and I'd highly recommend anyone do that because you've got nothing to lose. It's completely free, and the data is really accurate because it's Google's data. Assuming you're going to use Chrome, and probably should, because
it's like the number one search engine out there. And and also like building on that, it's one of the great ways of just seeing, you just said the pages are indexed and so on, or what it might with the back end with Google Search Console when it brings up those technical issues and it shows you which ones are discoverable and not, or so on. You can also look at the canonicals as well and see what's been selected.
Exactly.
So you could look at the back end and see what page the canonical was pointing to. Or there are many cases where Google will select its own canonical. And you can look at that user selected canonical. Check it out. And be like, oh well, I don't want Google actually being pointing to this. Let's go back and fix that.
What the hell, Google?
I know.
But
it's like it could be you have a shoes page and then it's pointing to a t-shirts page or something like that. Something as silly ridiculous as that.
It's entirely possible. And without the data, you never know that's going to be a problem until it's right in front of you. So I highly recommend taking advantage of Search Console. Another level you can take that to, difficult to recommend for small businesses, is tools like SEMrush and Ahrefs. As good as they are, they're expensive. So if you're a startup or if you're quite a small local business but want visibility on this stuff, you could, but it's hard to justify a few £100 a month when that revenue could be quite critical to you, or that money could be quite critical to you. So take advantage of it, but I think if you're a small business or you're just starting out with this stuff, I would wholeheartedly recommend Search Console instead.
It's a great starting point.
Completely, yeah. Okay, cool. So the indexing aside, I think what's useful to understand is how different types of pages and different kinds of content might kind of compete against each other, or in SEO terms, what we call cannibalize. It's a really crude term, but that's what everyone refers to it as. That's really visceral. I don't know why we actually call it cannibalize.
That till now, to be honest, truth be told.
It's really evil.
Yeah, it is actually.
But some pages cannibalize each other.
Each other, yeah.
Exactly. So. But we'll tell you about why that happens and what that really means. So it's caused when multiple pages compete for the same topic or the same thing, and it weakens the overall authority by it. So say you were creating loads of great informational content about, I don't know, let's plug something out of the air.
How to build a home.
Great example, yeah. And you've just got loads of blogs and they all kind of start saying the same thing, or they're all about the same specific parts of building your home. They're going to compete against each other, and Google's not really going to understand, or not just Google, all search engine crawlers and bots are not really going to understand which content to prioritize over the other.
Because it's too similar, isn't it? Yeah.
Too similar.
Contextually, it's just way too similar.
Yeah.
And you want that one piece of content to serve that one piece of purpose there.
Exactly. And that isn't just blog content, that can be your actual sales pages on your site, your actual product pages. So if you say you're a kind of a plumber that works within let's use Hampshire as an example, because Tillerson Consultants in Hampshire. Say if you were a plumber, but you were creating dedicated location pages on your site, which isn't a bad idea, but say you were kind of over-engineering that, and the pages are far too similar to each other. There's arguably too many because you're creating pages for towns that are a mile, 2 miles apart. That's going to be a bit too much, and those will start competing against each other. It's also possible accidentally to genuinely create duplicated pages of each other. You know, you might accidentally make 2 Portsmouth pages or 2 Havant pages. We're going really local here. And obviously that's really bad, but it can happen if you aren't really familiar with how page creation, page duplication works in your CMS or whatever, but it's definitely something to be careful
very
of.
mindful about. And, you know, it can just create confusion with the user also. It's like you could have when we say duplicate content, when you go on the search engine results page, let's say you have the same title for the same blog post, for instance, or they're very, very similar, but you know, you're drawing in the wrong traffic, and you don't want that to be the case.
Yeah.
You want the right intentional traffic there.
Yeah. And you've used the word so well there with intent. Well, I'll go off topic slightly because this is about stuff that might kill your visibility, but SEO is all about intent. It's all about relevancy and intent. It's about creating the content that genuinely resonates with your audience, is relevant to them, and kind of that's it.
Yeah.
It's so easy to over-engineer it and do too much to please the algorithm or search engine crawlers. But really, if you are making a page and you can wholeheartedly say, that is useful for someone in my audience and they would use that to either inquire or buy something, then you're kind of going about it in the right way.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not as simple as that, but that's the meat and bones of it, really. Side tangent there, apologies. But I think it's always important to say with any SEO thing, like that's the first major bit of advice I'd give to anyone, really, getting into SEO.
Definitely.
Relevancy and intent.
Yeah. And, you know, just like we said with the organic traffic, you know, that will... like you just said, like with Google, just struggles to determine which page to actually rank through that also.
Yeah, exactly that.
And you don't want that to happen.
Yeah, I completely agree. Moving on then, cruel waste. Cruel waste is an interesting one, and this is quite technical. So when we say cruel, I think I'll first need to describe how search engine crawlers work. I've said search engine crawlers loads, and I'm actually going to talk about what they are. So search engine crawlers, you can visualize these as little bots, because they are bots, but you can better visualize them as little robots that scour the internet and go to websites and go through kind of the web of internal links on those websites and read and understand what those pages are all about. Websites of any size, it's really important to make that crawling process as easy and as efficient as possible for those little lovely spiders. What happens with really big sites, primarily e-commerce stores with loads of products, loads of pages responsible for those, is that this web for where those web of internal links, so when one page goes to the other, can get really complicated and kind of all over the place. And there is, for every website, there is a hidden allocated budget that Google has in how much it will decide to crawl, and the time to do that also has an impact on its decision then on which pages get ranked and ultimately what prominence it gives those websites and those pages within search engine results. So you've got this won't harm you if you're a small business and you've got a small site, but if you're verging onto the larger site territory, this is definitely something you need to be thinking about. Because if it can't get through all of the pages of your site in an efficient way, it will just give up and go. And there'll be certain pages that just never get discovered and therefore ranked by search engine crawlers.
Definitely. You've got all these pages and these excessive amounts of pages on your website, and it just bloats, completely bloats it, you know. And that crawl budget allocation is so important. And just going off when you say that Google takes time to actually index your pages or find them and actually crawl them with these bots. And one of the example, for instance, we have a client where they had because it's been fixed now
by him probably.
They had these calendar pages, just multiple ones, and you were on that as well. You saw it, what, dated back to like 1912 or
Yeah,
something
they
like that.
had
It's crazy.
genuine calendar pages and
Yeah.
events all the way back to
So
1912,
that's so many pages in the system.
before the internet.
Yeah, before the
There was obviously nothing. There was obviously nothing in these calendar
Yep.
pages, but they existed
Yeah, exactly.
for some reason.
And they just serve no. Okay, fair enough. From a user perspective, it might be great. You know,
Yeah.
there's that purpose there. But for Google and you, it's not going to serve the technical purpose there. It's not going to be helpful that there's so many, because the crawl's just getting wasted by crawling all of these excessive amounts of calendar pages.
Yeah.
And when you have that, we'll talk about the fix in a minute, to be honest.
Yeah.
But like you just said, you're not able to get your most important pages crawled.
Yeah. Because it's got to go through and read and understand all of those whilst trying to do the rest of it. And it'll just take forever. And then any changes you then make that you'd want to, or were hoping would have a positive impact on SEO, just take longer, because every time bots come back to that site, they've got a real task in reading and understanding all of that.
Definitely.
So I think good general practice with any page on your website is to ask yourself, do I actually want this to appear in search results? Do I need this to? Like these specific calendar pages, no one needs to see those in a search result. If people wanted to see what maybe the company had in its calendar or a school had in its calendar 5 years ago, they would go to the site and go out of their way of doing that. You don't need that appearing in the search results. So really be brutal with your site and answer that. The pages you want to be ranking are the pages that you want a user to very specifically do something on that's got to generate you revenue or is something really integral to your business. So those are the pages that absolutely need to be ranking. But for some of the like company informational stuff, for, as we said, those calendar pages or event pages, it's just not necessary.
No. Do they serve, like you just said, do they serve a purpose?
What's the point?
What's the point? And it is those, you want those most important pages, you want those landing pages, and the pages that are going to make sales, or pages that are going to make calls, and it's like another example is you can have multiple paginated pages. What that means is that you have, let's say, a news page, and then you've got page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, and that's all in the system that way. Do you know what I mean? And then you don't want page 1, page 2, page 4 in the system. What are they serving? Nothing.
Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
All right.
All I was going to say is you only really want like the main news page and the individual news pieces themselves ranking well. As you very, very rightly said, you don't care about page 6 of your news feed ranking well. No one's going to be looking for that.
No, totally not.
Yeah. So it's picking your battles and being really smart about what you choose to be indexed and what you don't.
Yes.
I'll give another example just because I think this is where it also can really fall apart as well, is if you've got bespoke search functionality on your site that will show people products or pages based on the different fields that they input. I'm going to use another client as an example. They deal with kind of the event and hire for different football stadiums and stuff like that. And they've recently implemented a really amazing search functionality where by location, by stadium name, by different things, you can just search and then it will pull up, it will show on a map and filter the different clubs that they support. What they've done really smart about that is that every time you, regardless of what field you put in on that search, you aren't taken to another page and there aren't loads of heaps of parameters added onto the end of the URL that could possibly be indexed on its own and create a whole new page variance in a kind of can of worms scenario. Instead, it's all contained within that page and it's within the page functionality and not within the URL behavior. And that's a really smart way of doing that, because if you're not careful, you would just end up creating loads of different versions of the same page based on that search result. So say if I was looking up, Portsmouth Football Club, the stadium, Fratton Park, and I'd typed in Portsmouth, but I'd also typed in, what else might have I typed into the search bar, like Hampshire. If you weren't careful, if it wasn't programmed in the right way, it's very easy for something like that to direct you to a new search results page, but also within the URL have club location equals Portsmouth and county equals Hampshire, which creates a whole new page that can be indexed in the search results, which you just don't want. That's so much bloat and junk. So be really smart about that. That's quite complicated, and it's not going to impact a lot of sites. But again, if you've got like complicated bespoke functionality on your site that has search results within it, that might be something to look out for.
Yeah, definitely.
I think.
I don't think a lot of people know that, do they? You'd never think by just putting in something in the search bar could then create a new page for Google to then rank.
Exactly.
And index.
No, because you think you've got a set amount of pages on your website.
Yeah.
But the reality might be that there's a whole bucket of other pages elsewhere that you just never knew.
Yeah.
So that's why taking advantage of Google Search Console to look at that indexing report and see, whoa, I thought I only had 50 pages on my site, but there's like 2,000 of them up for some reason, but they're not being indexed, which is good. But why do I even have those?
Yeah, totally.
You would never have the visibility of that if you weren't kind of monitoring it and managing it in the first place. So yeah, have you got anything else you wanted to add to that, or should we move on to the next point?
Yeah, I think the web developers have done a great job there, haven't they?
They have. They did mess up one thing on it, but I'm not going to call them out. They'd accidentally done it so that regardless of what you searched, Derby would always appear regardless.
Oh, okay.
And it was the preset like placeholder fields as well, so it was all just Derby.
Oh,
Any search result was just Derby. It's like, I wonder if the web team was based in Derby.
Yeah, I wonder too. Yeah,
but
right.
they didn't mean to, and it's fine.
No.
But these things happen.
Yeah.
Like web development's complicated.
Yeah.
Cool. So the next thing, I guess our point number 4 is keyword cannibalisation. And this is really similar in a sense to pages that might cannibalize, but I think what we mean by this is the specific reasons why something might cannibalize. And this is if you've done some SEO, you're doing your keyword research as part of that, you found keywords or key terms that you really like and you're trying to optimize pages for them. What can happen is people can accidentally, whether they mean to or not, start optimizing multiple pages for the same kind of thing. And as a result, similar to our previous point about pages just kind of eating themselves up or eat each other up with that cannibalism. They cancel each other out. Yeah, and I think the way in which you should always think about this is just if have a feeling that you've got multiple weak pages for the same kind of things, it's deciding exactly what you do with that.
Well, it's like you mentioned earlier on, looking into Google Search Console and seeing in the back end, I've got these multiple pages, they're cannibalizing one another, and just seeing what's ranking actually the best organically here, what's Google actually choosing and people are choosing, and be like, okay, that's great, I now know which page that is. And then from then on, you're like, I don't need those other pages. They're causing more of a problem than any purpose here. And what you can essentially do is, many times we'll look at that, won't we? And we'll either decide, is there some good content on that page that's not on this page that's ranking very well? Can I merge that? Can I put it in? Or is it just complete, rubbish? Do I actually need that or not?
What word did you want to use there?
Yeah.
I'm joking. Sorry, go on.
That's okay. Is this PG? Or so you don't really, you can do that, and then that way, you've done something good as well. You've put something good on that main page, and then you look at it and you're like, I don't want those other pages now, so what I will do is I'll just redirect them.
Yeah.
Send those users to that page that you want to be the most important page now, that's ranking the best organically, because they're all going there anyway. Just send that external traffic to over there. I think that is the best way to go about fixing those pages. And
things like redirects don't have to be too complicated to set up yourself, really. Yeah. If you're using WordPress, you probably are. It's so popular. It's really easy. You can download a plugin we really like called Redirection.
Redirection,
you just add the page that you've got where you might want to redirect it to, and boom, it's done. It's really handy. Don't mess around with doing it directly in, oh my God, what's it called? It's escaped me now. in HT Access. Please don't do your redirects there. You might want to if you know what you're doing, but if you're watching this podcast, you probably don't know how to handle that. So just do it with a plugin, please.
That's a different huge method right there. And that comes into the play when it's more of kind of like a massive site migration, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it can be really useful for other things that are like, that the redirection tool might not end up redirecting, like something like images or something like that.
Yeah.
You can use Access tool. But anyway, like Nick just said,
please don't mess around.
Don't mess around with that. Don't mess around, because that mess around with your server and so on.
Getting something wrong in HT Access means your entire site goes down. So,
literally that.
Please don't.
Yeah.
Save your sanity, save your business.
Warned, so.
Yeah. Cool. Then I think our final point on that, on the things you might not know that can kill your visibility, comes then down to wrong use of internal linking for your site and the dead ends that you can create as a result of that. Now, to put this in easy terms, internal link is literally just when you link from one page of your site to the other. I know a lot of times you'll see pages do that by anchor linking it. So when you hover over a word, you can click on it and go to the relevant page. All standard practice of web maintenance.
Essentially.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. But also, internal linking is an SEO strategy or tool in itself to improve the performance of certain pages specifically. Now, as a rule, the pages with the most internal links on your site end up being the ones that are the most important because it's just where they most prominently feature. Navigation bars and footers, they exist for more navigation reasons to make sure that people can move around your site and go to the pages that you want them to go to. But the hidden benefit of those is that they innately increase the internal links from one page to another. And the reason, like I said, is that important is if you have a page on your site that has absolutely no internal links to it whatsoever, that's what's referred to as an orphan page. And it doesn't mean that page can't perform well and actually rank, but it's just going to have a bit of a harder time in doing so. So you want to make sure that within however you structure your site or however you set up your nav and internal links, you want to make sure that the most prominent pages on your site, the ones that you want to rank well, have a really decent amount of internal links to them.
Definitely. It's like we were saying earlier on, it comes down to also internal linking architecture there, isn't it? Think of it like Pac-Man, for instance. Your Pac-Man, you want to follow this route and you want to eat your fruit or so. I'm trying to remember what Pac-Man eats here. But
I think it's fruit.
Is it fruit?
Yeah, it's all bunch of stuff.
Okay,
it's
awesome.
Fruit. Yeah,
so you think of it like that. It's going around the board. Let's say you want to do a great square around. That's what you want, right? You want that in the architecture as well. That's what crawlbots want. They want to be led perfectly around this system.
Yeah.
And if they're perfectly led around this system, they're going to find it more trustful.
Yeah.
They're going to understand the content better.
Exactly.
And then they're going to see that, and then they're going to be like you just said. You have this comparison between an orphan page and one that is internally linked correctly. And the crawlbot that sees that's internally linked correctly sees it as the most trustful.
Exactly.
And it will then index it quicker.
Yeah.
And put it into SERPs quicker.
Exactly. Because it knows then, that's got a lot of reference points to it. It must be important.
Definitely,
that's what you're communicating to search engines
it?
Is this page is important. I want you to care about it.
Yeah.
That's what that internal linking does. It's really easy to do. And it's really good to do as well if you're creating blog content. You should be creating blog content that relates to your services anyway. So it then becomes really easy within your blogs to just reference stuff that exists elsewhere on your site, like your services, and then just directly link to those. It's just healthy and good practice.
Definitely, like you create a piece and, like you said, services or products, for instance.
Yeah.
And obviously making sure that those products are contextually correct here, where, you write a piece and it's about, I don't know, you want to, the most simplest example here, but I think everyone would know this, but you make something like a piece about football. You want to sell football kits. So you link to football kits, right? You don't just necessarily, let's say it's specifically about football kits.
Yeah.
That's great, football kits. You don't want to then start linking to, you could, shoes, but if you put it in the content correctly, but you want to put the right internal links there.
Definitely, yeah, keep it relevant.
Yeah.
And I think if you want to have a rule that actually what you'll see if you use things like SEMrush's site audit or the equivalent in Ahrefs, where it will give you things you might want to think about in terms of internal linking, is that the pages you care about should never take more than 3 clicks to reach. So what that means is, say if you landed on a website, you hover over the navigation bar, the drop down, that's 1 click to get to that place. And then the second would be where you might click on that page. Never have anything more than 3 clicks. I think that mentality helps you create like intuitive sites to browse anyway.
That's a really good point.
But it also makes sure that you've got those internal links.
Definitely.
And that everything is accessible. So I find that quite a nice way of thinking.
That's a really good way of thinking.
Yeah.
And when you think like that, you're thinking of the user as well, aren't you?
Yeah.
We live in a day and age now where we like things fast and quick. We like, people are on their TikToks, they're on their content, they look at it quickly.
Yeah.
People just want to get to a destination as quick as possible and get their solution as quick as possible.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's literally the right mindset, like you just said. Think of it that way.
Your job is to make that as easy as possible.
Yeah.
As least friction as is feasible to get your prospect or the right person in your audience from A to B. Bingo, you're on the money.
Definitely,
from doing
you've done
that.
all the hard work. Don't mess it up there.
That's it. So, you've created a beautiful site. Now maintain it.
Yep.
In just having the site, you're not done.
Yeah,
you need to preserve it. It's like car maintenance, right?
Oh yeah.
You can go and buy a lovely. I won't use an example of a car because everyone's opinions on nice cars are subjective. But you go buy a really good car, and if you've done no maintenance on it over 5 years, you can have a problem. Think of your site as the same way.
Exactly, the oil starts leaking or something like that.
That's it.
Yeah,
just blow
tire
up.
issue, it blow up.
Your site won't blow up, but it could.
Yeah, you could. The site shuts down.
That's it. Yeah. It's obviously not that extreme, but you get our point.
Yeah.
And one thing that we've not really covered that I think is really critical is actually what you might discover in robots.txt and your sitemap. Now, robots.txt is basically a rule book to search engine crawlers for some of the pages you explicitly would want to block them from ever accessing to begin with. What you can do, again, if you go into your search bar, put in your domain, and then do / and then write robots.txt. This will bring up a really simple file, and what you'll be able to see is allow and then disallow. You want to make sure that in the disallow that there's nothing in there that's really important to your site. If you've got core service pages in there, get those out. That means search engine crawlers cannot go to that, whatever you do. This was actually before my time, but it's a horror story that's been passed down at our business, where a client came to us. They had a really lovely site built, and on paper it should have been performing in a really, really good way. Like there's nothing inherently wrong with it. And the client said, I'm getting absolutely no traffic at all, like nothing. Like they were using Search Console, they're using analytics. And we vetted it as well and noticed the same thing. Thought, well, that can't be possible. Like you might have a new site and it be not very visible because it's new, but it's very rare that it gets no traffic whatsoever. What happened is the developers who had built the site, while they were building it, they blocked the domain in robots.txt to ensure that that search engine crawlers weren't crawling it.
Oh my!
There's cleaner ways of doing this. They launched the site and left that in there. So for weeks, search engine crawlers could not discover this whole site whatsoever.
This beautiful site, and then you can't even show it off to people.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and if someone typed in the URL, like the page URL specifically, they could have reached the site, but no one was discovering it.
Yeah,
for that exact reason. So don't do that. But make sure in robots.txt that specific pages aren't being blocked.
Yeah.
And it's the same for the sitemap. Do you want to explain sitemaps, or would you like me to cover that? That's fine. Put you on the spot.
You can if you want. There's obviously with this, like you said, it's the same thing with a sitemap as well. You have a sitemap and you can generate these very easily in the back end of your website.
Yeah.
And most CMS systems you can create one with, and what that does allow your site to have is, it comes back to this kind of like architecture, like we were just saying with internal linking, but like think of it like actually having a map.
Yeah.
You know, you have all your pages that are in this sitemap, and it allows all the crawlers to then, the crawl bots, essentially, to I've gone blank.
No,
to
fine.
view the certain pages that you want, obviously, but you want
Exactly.
you want that architecture there, don't you?
Yeah,
you want
yeah.
it to be mapped out correctly.
Yeah.
You want all your pages in that sitemap. You want the most important ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
If I've explained that as correct.
No, you're 100% right. But in simpler terms, think of it as just a full list of all the pages on your site in one capacity or another. And you can submit that into Google Search Console to directly tell search engine crawlers, this is my sitemap, these are my pages.
Yeah.
It can just help speed things up. It also helps you just vet everything at a distance as well if you can't get a complete list of URLs. But again, it's just making sure that everything is present in there.
It's like something, for instance, recently I realised, I think it was, a site where I kept indexing the blogs, and I was wondering, why is it actually not indexing right now?
Yeah.
And I looked and I was like, I mean, this is 101, but you know, it's straight off the bat. You look at it and you're thinking, makes sense. None of these, there's no sitemap here.
Yeah.
There's no blogs. You know, this way the blogs can't even be in the sitemap. You know, be discovered by Google. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
It happens. And all the stuff you just wouldn't know about. So
Yeah.
take advantage of these things and start looking, because regardless of how good you think your site is, there's probably some hidden nasties in there.
And you want a sitemap, it's just going to speed up the process of getting your pages discovered.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly that. Yeah.
But I think you put that perfectly.
Well, thank you. And likewise. But yeah, I think that kind of wraps up our recommendations, really. I hope that was useful. Obviously, we'll have more podcasts come around, more specific SEO stuff, but these are some bits that kind of verge into that technical SEO realm. That's a little bit intimidating, but I think these are things that affect any business of any size, any website of any size, and just some 100%. Fundamentals to be thinking about and be on top of, really. So
definitely.
Yeah.
And the thing is, just go off that quickly. You don't necessarily, no one ever kind of really thinks of these things behind it, but these most simplest of fixes, some of them make massive changes, don't they?
They do, yeah.
And it's just simply cleaning up your content or picking, fixing that keyword cannibalisation can make a massive difference to your organic visibility.
Exactly. Yeah. And it doesn't have to take all the time in the world either. That's what's good about it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Totally.
Excellent. Well, we will love you and leave you. As I've said, I'm Nick. This is Zach. And thank you so much for tuning in.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
See you.
See you later.